Hey everybody, this is Paul doing a Doordash video. So in this video, what I decided to do, since this is kind of a thing that everybody kind of does, is they do one of these like tips and tricks, like things that they've learned after how many, however many things. And since it's becoming pretty obvious that to get the best orders, you have to be over 70%. Previously you could be a cherry picker and you were able to do pretty all right. But that's back when everybody had stimuluses. There was so much demand. There was very, very few drivers compared to what there are now. Now there's just this flood of drivers because of just the insane incentives that DoorDash gives. So what this video is I'm going to kind of go over for new people and I guess maybe some veterans, maybe like how how we do our thing. How like where do you go? What do you? Because the only thing it says is go sit. Like the app just tells you to go sit in a red spot and pray that you get an order. So what you got to do is you got to look at your area. So this is the first thing. This is a map of my area. All right. So basically my little area is like there. Then you got New Orleans, and it's kind of shaped like Ohio. It's kind of funny, but so that's my area right there. So what you have to figure out is you have to separate it into two things. Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday because it's completely different on how it works. And pretty much everybody I talk to has the same situation. So what you have to do in my situation, first thing you have to do is locate where your restaurants are. So in my situation, there's a few restaurants right here. There's a load of restaurants right here, right there, right there, and then you got something like that. So all the circles would be restaurants, okay? So you have to find out where the restaurants are clustered at. The next thing you have to figure out, and this should be pretty easy to figure out, you could just listen to the radio in the morning. So you have your different interstates and whatever. Which way is the interstate busiest in the morning? Going this way. So what that should tell you is that everybody heads this way to go to work Monday through Friday. So the first thing that you need to do is, yeah, you might have a hot restaurant right here, but during the daytime, this is probably going to be like, this is like a Chick-fil-A or whatever, but it's like, you're going to get like one or two orders out here, and then you're going to have a few dashers. You're just going to have a lot of competition. So the first thing you want to do is head to where the people are. So in this situation, you have to head this way. So if you live out here, you have to head this way. And I really do this every day. And then you have to figure out where your clusters of restaurants are. Because you have to remember you're competing against other dashers. And then so that's typically the 8 to 5 or like 8 to 5 area, or typically like 8 to 3 honestly, or 8 to 4 because people start to get off work. In the afternoons, it completely shifts. So everybody starts heading back this way in my area. And then they also head north across the lake here because they all live across the lake too. So this area over here now picks up. So that's my first tip and trick is you you want to figure out where your density is and what time. And then on the weekends it completely shifts. Areas that aren't busy are become busy. Areas that are, you know, not busy during the week all of a sudden become very busy because everybody's at their house and they want like say IHOP or something like that. Um, So that's kind of the first thing is you have to figure out where your density's at, and you have to figure out which way people are heading. In the morning time, they're heading this way. That's where you want to be. You want to be this way as close to New Orleans as possible. And then in the evening time, you want to be back over here towards this density of restaurants. And then there's like one or two restaurants in here, like, there's like shop and deliver orders. So for any new person, that's the first thing you have to figure out. You have to figure out your area. And areas vary depending on who you talk to. So and if you want to get a general idea, just listen to the radio in the morning. They'll tell you which way the traffic is heading and where all the accidents are. Uh, and this is how you also decrease miles in your car. So the next thing that you need to get into is figuring out what type of orders can you take. Um, some people on the DoorDash forum are very, very strange on how they do how they figure out maintenance on their cars. Some people are convinced you have to change your brakes a bunch. I'm not sure how they're driving or what they're driving that requires them to change their brakes that often. They think you got to change your windshield wipers every single time you go in to get an oil change. I don't know, just insane stuff. Like they think the shocks on your car, people like stuff that people don't even think about. Like they think that that's included in the maintenance. I understand where they're driving or what they're driving. I mean, we have potholes in New Orleans, but I mean, I'm not getting the shocks on my Prius changed. So you have to figure out what kind of car do you have. Do you have a hybrid? Do you have an electric? Do you have a gas car? So if you have an electric car, I mean, that's kind of the ideal car that you want, but it gives you the ability to basically take orders. You really don't have to factor in gas. You just have to factor in electricity costs to charge. So for example, there is a Winn-Dixie like right here where I'm putting this X for example, that has a Tesla charging station. So if you drive a Tesla, you could literally be parked right here for most of your day, get a lot of your orders, and then you're kind of set. You're in a really good spot, especially if you just need to take a break from Doordash for like say 45 minutes to charge your Tesla or whatever. There's literally a Tesla charging station there. There's a few of them here. Um, if you drive a hybrid, you're going to want to really take any streets that keep you under 35, because especially in a Prius, because that is how you run the electric battery versus the gas battery. Also, and then if you drive so the best gas saving tips I can think of for like say a gas car, if I had to guess one, is the starting and the stopping. So when you park in front of somebody's house, especially, you don't have to stop your car. Um, yeah, I literally just if I know I'm going to be walking like say 20 feet or something, now that could vary by state law, I guess. But if your car is parked, you're allowed to have it running, I think, as long as it's parked. But instead of you want to try and minimize your starting and stopping. Um, Also, one thing I would tell new people is so like say for example, probably this big red dot, this black dot right here, this one here, where I put this X right here. There's a Chick-fil-A right there. One thing that a lot of people will tell you is like, oh yeah, Chick-fil-A orders, those are the ones you want. Go sit by Chick-fil-A, you want to take those orders. One thing they don't tell you about those orders is those orders do not stack. So that's one thing about those orders that you want to know. And what stacking is basically, say if you're at a Pizza Hut, for example, and you get one order, and then all of a sudden they try to send you another order, the other order might be really good. I mean, you can decline the other order, obviously, or the other order might be garbage. They might be trying to put it on there for $2 or whatever. But so say if you get a Chick-fil-A that's like $7 for 2 miles or whatever, that's cool. But say if you're at a Pizza Hut and you get $7 for 2 miles, and then you're at the same Pizza Hut and they're like, hey, if you go 500 feet down the street, here's another $9. And this is literally something that happened to me yesterday. So instead of sitting at a Chick-fil-A all day, which is what I see people literally do, there's probably about six dashers that literally sit at this Chick-fil-A all day, which is great for the Chick-fil-A because their orders get out quick. The problem is they're not considering things like, your orders don't stack. Or, for example, if you're in this area over here during the daytime when people are over here, you might get a Shake Shack, you might get a McDonald's, and you might get, a burrito place or something like that, or you might get a Starbucks all stacked together. And Starbucks is stacked, they'll stack their orders. I saw a guy that had it this morning, he was picking up two of them. So you have to think about, yeah, those probably orders are to nicer places, and a majority of them are just leave at door, take a picture, and drive off. But they tend to take you out to like here, or they tend to take you out to like here. Then you have to go all the way back across traffic and across the interstate to get back to the Chick-fil-A, because the Chick-fil-A is on this side of the interstate. So you have to remember like which, the distances that you're traveling, because you have to double every distance. Um, Another thing, and this is something that DoorDash drivers I guess forget, is you want to take orders that are going to pay you to go somewhere you were going to go anyways. So sometimes you might get like say a $4 order. So say you might get a $4 order from this Chick-fil-A that's taking you to here, for example, which is only like say 2 miles or 3 miles. majority of the drivers will actually turn that order down, but what they don't remember is like typically those orders are ready the minute you walk through the door. And this is a key thing. If the order's ready when you walk through the door, you're literally getting paid to park your car, walk, and now you're getting paid to go to somewhere you were going to go anyways. So you want to try and get paid to go distances. So what happens here is you typically want to get paid to go. So let me change the line color here. So what you want to do is like this is like your ideal situation is you want to get paid like in my situation, so the places where the things are. So I want to get paid to go from here to there. And then if I have to, I want to get paid to go from here to there. And then preferably get paid to go back home whenever my shift is over. So you always want to be trying to get paid to go to the direction you want to go anyways. You never want to do this situation here unless it's for a good bit of money. And this is kind of what happens a lot of times is sometimes we'll get orders that will try to take us, especially in Louisiana, like to this side of the river, for example. You know, unless the tip is extremely good, you have to remember you have to go there and then drive back. And there's only bridges like over here, and there's like a bridge right here that you can see. So you want to be sure that you're getting paid to go somewhere that takes you to where there's more restaurants at. So that's the biggest thing you have to remember also. Is you want to be getting paid to go to where the restaurants are. So preferably you want to go from circle to circle and then go back and forth between the circles, and you want to keep that up. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to get paid to go down here where there's nothing. Like there's maybe one or two restaurants down here and there's like a Winn-Dixie that might give you some shop and deliver orders, but once you get down here, you're kind of out here, and then you have to go back through all these little roads here, and you can kind of see how they have some main roads that take you, but it's very hard to navigate these little areas down here. So that's your big thing is you want to be getting paid to go to different areas and clusters. That's your big thing. And the only way you're going to accept these orders down here, this kind of stuff, is you want to make sure you're getting compensated because once you're here, you have to go all the way back. So that's the one thing I would definitely say. So it's okay to take a low tip order or like say a $4 for a 3 mile order, but it has to be taking you somewhere that you want to go. If it's like if that $4 for 3 miles is trying to take you here, that's just not worth it. That order is going to sit there, and I would say that order should sit there because it's not taking you somewhere that's into a different cluster of restaurants where these different hotspots are. So that's one thing we got going on. Another thing, let me see how much time I have on this video. Yeah, so one more tip I guess I would put out there for everybody is one thing that I saw happen today is the zone was gray. They had peak pay, and because I have Top Dasher, and if you're over 70%, most people are going to have Top Dasher these days, is when I logged in, this is what the zone looked like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 separate things. So the zone's gray, so what does that mean? That means these orders that you see right here are all getting passed around because people have very strict standards. And this is something I put out in my own videos that they should have a way of allowing people to pick, I only want to take this much for this many miles, that kind of stuff. So what I said is basically when I logged in, I started getting orders immediately for like say $7 for 2 miles. Even though it was gray, I made like $52 in like 2 hours. And it was just basically this following this strategy right here. Going this way, going that way, that kind of thing. So just because a zone is gray does not necessarily mean it's dead. It means that there's enough people logged in theory, to cover the orders. And then when you log in, you're going to see, now if you log in and only see one thing, obviously the zone's dead. But if you log in and see something like this, that means that there's a lot of people logged in. They have enough people logged in, they think, but they're just not accepting the orders and they're just bouncing them around because it doesn't meet their standards. So that's kind of where I'm gonna leave this video at. Leave any tips and tricks below. You know, that's kind of what this video is made for. Any experienced people, any people with 12,000 orders, that kind of stuff. And you know, like I said, the other video I have that says you don't have to wait more than 10 minutes and how to unassign orders. That one's one of my more popular videos on this channel. It's under my DoorDash section here. So let me know what you think. Thank you.